It's still July 31st. It's 3:54 p.m. So I've still been chewing on this concept of this morning this pattern that's been presenting itself, right, over the last 2 weeks in terms of or the last week, really. Maybe? Oh, when did I house sit? Was that last weekend? I need a calendar. But just trying to find the balance, right, in how to react when you're triggered. Now, the funny thing is, so I'm still a part of my church group chat. I asked if I could still be a part of that, just because I really love the people I've met at church. Like, I really do. Like, it's just, a faith community church was just, it's a great church to belong to. Not all the messages resonate anymore, but it's a great church to belong to if you don't have a church home. And everybody that I've met there, every single person, the heart is there. So anyway, so I still partake in that interaction, and I have everyone's birthdays, and so we all send out happy birthday wishes to each other. So there's one group member, and she's so great. She's always putting out stuff that calls to her heart. And so this morning she put there was a passage that she put, a church passage. Romans 12:18, the New International Version says, "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." And then she sends out this text that says, "My God is a gentleman. He gives us the freedom of choice, but gives us instructions to help guide our life to either be hard or easy. And that last part is up to you, like this passage. Easier said than done when you're in traffic and someone cuts you off, at work and your boss or coworkers are intentionally trying to get you, when your spouse doesn't contribute to the household chores and your kids think they know it all and no longer listen to you, or your neighbor's loud music late at night, or you have an early meeting in the morning, or a random stranger calls you stupid idiot at the grocery store for wearing a mask, when you're being cheated on, overlooked for a promotion, unappreciated, or just cast aside. That peace can be hard to muster in that moment. Truth be told, I am susceptible to anger. That's how I'm wired. I can bless you in one hand and kick your butt with the other. So I call on the Lord often for the spirit of self-control, his gift to me, and one of the fruits of the Spirit. There are 9. And then she quotes Galatians 5:22. This has gotten me out of many, but not all, of my tough situations. I'm a work in progress and still learning as a forever student of his holy word. The struggle is real, but I'm blessed I have God to turn to. Can anyone relate? So of course people are saying yes, yes. So that made me think, right? Again, so my response was, it's funny how we can polarize our reactions one extreme to another, blessing one person on one side and then swaying to the other, of having an urge to react aggressively. I wonder, how can we embrace both to balance the truth that both extremes offer? Not deny our emotions, because there is truth in what we feel and there is a reason for it, but also to discern what to do and to know when to step back. How do we give grace without denying ourselves grace in the process of acknowledging our own triggers and emotions without being hard on ourselves for not being Christian-like? I believe there is a balanced way to respond to others and ourselves when we get triggered. Thank you for sharing this, right? So it's this repeated theme of what I talked about this morning, right? Of this past, just these 3 examples, right? And how in one situation I gave grace because I knew the background, I knew what was going on, with Hannah. And then in the other 2, it was a little bit different, where I still felt attacked in all 3, to a certain degree, in all 3 situations, but I responded differently in each situation. And so I was reflecting on her message on the way home today, and then it takes me back to last fall. Space, time, and awareness, right? Giving yourself space. right? Having that level of awareness that you're being triggered, giving yourself space from the situation, right? And time to respond, which I didn't do, right? Which I didn't do in the other situations, you know, with the childhood friend or acquaintance. I stayed quiet, well, mostly because I was triggered and I was frozen, like, oh, she's becoming really strong. And she prepared me for it too. She said, I come off really strong. And I remember she was always a very strong character. And I said, no, that's fine, that's who you are. But at the same time, like, recognizing that within myself, like, it is a strong personality, and I tend to, like, like, cower down when someone is more aggressive than me. And needing to remind myself that I'm not being attacked, that I'm not, you know, like, that I can stand my ground. Oh gosh, it's taking me back to other moments where there was someone I was confronting in an aggressive manner, and I was shaking, and how hard it was for me to stand my ground in a moment, but I did it even though I was shaking. So it reminded me of that situation with this acquaintance, and how there was, in essence, like, of an attack of my beliefs, right? Even though she claimed to be open. And then when I was just trying to share my perspective, she wasn't having it. She just was completely closed off. So then I was just like, okay, clearly, repeated lesson, right? She's not here to hear my truth. Or not even to understand where I'm coming from. Just straight out believing that I'm going the wrong way. Then this guy in the middle, right? Mr. Arizona. And there was a recognition of a difference of opinion. But at the same time, there was this potential, right? Because this was a face-to-face conversation. This was a face-to-face conversation and text. And then this one was straight out text. Mr. Arizona was completely text. There was no phone call. There was none of that. That's how he chose it to be. So then there's the possibility of miscommunication. There's the potential of not, you know, clearly I was triggered. I don't know if he got it, right? The underlying issue of that. Or if he even sees it within himself. Because, you know, like my loved one said, she's just like, he may not even notice it, right? And she's like, I've dated people like that, where it's like you're telling them, and they don't get it. and then she said, and if you notice that you keep engaging in that, that's a sign for you to wish them well and let go, right? Let them be. There's no sense in entertaining that interaction if you're not getting anything from it. And that's why she said, what did she say? Which one of these Post-its? A one-sided connection is not a relationship. A one-sided connection is not a relationship. Right? So if it's only one-sided and the other person is not engaging, then that is not a relationship. Okay, that helped. Part B. So amongst this mix of what's going on, there's this other situation that kind of situation Chris from Middle Pond calls them situationships, where it's not a relationship, but it's a situation. and so I mentioned that there's this person on the other side of the world that randomly sought me out, right? And I've had visions about him and kind of like, whoa, you're in my space, right? My bubble space. Like, why are you trying to invade my space after clearly I've been telling you, like, trying to set boundaries. So this person randomly, every once in a while, will text me. And I don't even reach out. I don't reach out, one, because there's nothing in common. We don't have anything in common. And it just seems like this repetitive, like, how are you doing? How's work? How's your family? That's it. And then I've mentioned that this person had these terms of endearment for me that just rubbed me the wrong way. And then I mentioned this to my loved one, because I'm just like, I'm trying to even reconcile that, like, within myself, you know, because this person, he'll send me like little, how can I, this is what he sends me, stuff like that. And I'm just like, no response, right? Crickets on my end. And then he'll put, I'm missing you. And then he'll put, I didn't receive any text from you. I was thinking you don't want to talk with me anymore. And I'm just like, right? Like, yeah, like I just, and I'm trying to be kind. I'm trying to be kind. And I think he got part of my comment when I told him this kind of stuff turns me off, because he's not reaching out every day like he used to, or expecting that I'm going to communicate with him as often as he'd like. But I had already set those boundaries and those limits, and I told him I'm not going to. And so there's still this sense, I mean, and he'll put like, I hope I will be with you together, that we'll be together. And I'm just like, no. and I said, no, I love my single life. Like, I don't need anybody, right? And I'm trying my best to verbalize my boundaries. And then he put, you are very kind, sweet, the most beautiful girl to have with me, and I want you to be my kid's future mom. I'm just like, okay, wait a minute. You know, like, and then he's just like, you're my one special one. I want to share everything with you. I wish to have you with me forever and ever. And then I'm like, this is your choice to continue to live with this illusion, because I've clearly already told you that it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. No. And then I cut it short, right? And then I wish I could be there to help you move. I was like, no. So I was telling that to my loved one, and then she's like, why are you torturing yourself? She's just like, why do you keep triggering yourself? If you know that when he reaches out, you get triggered in a certain way, why don't you just cut it? Why don't you just cut it? So then I'm just like thinking to myself, I don't cut it because I want to be comfortable with my discomfort, right? And there's a safe enough distance where I'm like, this obsession, right? This extreme response that he has towards me is far away on the other side, that I'm like, this is safe to get comfortable with my discomfort, right? Because in essence, I'm just like, I don't want it to be a trigger. So how do I not make it a trigger? I sit with it. Because then I think in the other extreme, right? I mean, to a certain degree for me, at the current state of mind where I'm currently at, there is a level of when someone approaches me in that manner where it's just too much, like obsession, right? Too much, it deters me, right? It deters me, it pushes me away, because I'm like, whoa, like too much. And there's a certain level of like disgust and she's like, you seem annoyed. I'm like, yes, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed because I've put my boundaries. I've been clear, and the person doesn't get it. And then, sorry, I'm just processing right now something. And so then I was telling her, it's the same if we were to look at like racism, right, of what's going on right now, to a really, really extreme perspective, right? Where someone could literally say like, I can't even be in the presence of a white person, or I can't be in the presence of a colored person. I get triggered. There's disgust. There's annoyance, right? It's like, and she's like, it's two separate situations. I'm like, yes, the context is different, but the emotional response that gets evoked, that gets triggered, is the same. It's the same emotion, probably a different level of intensity, possibly. It depends on the context, right? I mean, can this obsessive person get to that point of like, ew, get away? Yeah, of course. But it's the emotion, the same emotion that gets triggered. It's just a different context. And so then if on this side, right, of racism, I'm trying to reconcile and figure out, okay, how can these individuals who have that intense feeling towards each other, whoever they may be, right, how can they reconcile that so that they don't have that? And then this whiff of this extreme, right? Like I need to figure out how to do that. But then she's like, you don't. She's like, keep it simple. You keep it simple. Cut it out. Just cut it. Like, why are you triggering yourself by allowing it to continue? She said, some people are just not going to get it, she said. And it's just not their time to get it. And you need to be okay, right? With where's my it's okay to not vibe with someone and just let it go. Let them go, right? Like, just wish them well and let them go. Cut it off so that you don't continue to be triggered. Finding the balance in them, right? And finding the balance in it, because it's just like, then I'm thinking, do monks ever get triggered? What do they do? What do monks do when they get triggered, And then, because I mentioned that I was raised Christian, and so then it's just like, well, what did Jesus do? Like how do you still show love without an extreme situation? Or yeah. So then I started crying. I started crying this morning. Because there was an element where I felt bad for having those emotions, right? Of like, because I felt hurt or offended, that I wanted to do that back. And I did. I just don't know if they got it. And just, it's like, how? I guess maybe with time, right? Space, time, and awareness. Space, time, and awareness. Giving ourselves grace. That self-love. Like, hey, it's okay. Next time, just make some space, take your time, and be aware of what's going on. Check in with yourself, right? And then figure out the means of communication, right? One, I didn't respond back to the trigger, aside from taking a step back. The other one, it was clear where this other person stood, yet I still felt like I needed to put the last word in. Where it should have been less is more, right? Less is more. And in this middle situation with Mr. Arizona, I should have picked up the phone and called him. I should have spoken to him on the phone, It should have been a phone call, not a text. There you go. And then with this obsessive guy, I'm gonna have to cut the cord. Because every time I get a message, just I do get triggered to the point where I'm like, like I start twitching. Like, no. Which just sucks to say, but that's the reality. That's my reality right now. Of just like, no. I don't even want to lead you on. I don't even think we can be friends, because clearly, right, that potential for friendship, I think, is already gone. It's gone. I don't even think I can be friends with someone who continues to replay the same illusion in his mind after I've clearly stated my position. And then just hope that he gets it, in whatever other future relationships he gets or comes across. Hopefully there's a level of awareness that, oh, why does this keep happening to me? And maybe the light bulb will turn on. I don't know. So this is part B. So I thought it was cool, like that, that just, I got that text and And it was just a continued theme, right, of this topic, right? But okay, it's 4:14. I need to balance 4:14. I went to Home Depot, bought some stuff. I'm gonna patch up the holes today because I'm moving out. I'm gonna go see my ex-in-laws tomorrow because, you know, I haven't seen them, and my ex-mother-in-law has been reaching out, and just want to say goodbye to them, you know, before I move. And then I'm coordinating with my ex for other stuff, and just, yeah, still need to go through the final boxes. But I'm going to a gathering tonight. I think I mentioned it was gonna be 80s theme, not anymore. So, but I'm excited to go out and see this group of friends and say goodbye to them too, and thank them for their support. They're one of the 7, the first 7 that I told about my YouTube channel. So I want to say thank you to them. All right, and we're counting down. Saturday, well, Thursday I'll be out, so 5 days. In counting. San Francisco, here I come. All right, bye. My name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself, or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next.